Welcome everybody to our regular scheduled city council meeting. Today is Tuesday, June 17th, 2025, and it's 6:03 p.m. And I'll call this meeting to order. And as always, we'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, and we'll have our clerk Barb read the open meeting statement for us.
This meeting and all meetings of the Common Council are open to the public. Proper notice has been posted and given to the media in accordance with Wisconsin state statutes, so the citizens may be aware of the time, place, and agenda of this meeting.
And you want to take roll also?
Sure. Mayor Brian Smith.
Here.
Colin Dykstra.
Here.
Paul Hagan.
Here.
Eric Helverson.
Here.
Dimitri Martin.
Here.
Paul Mayo. Corey Nagel.
Here.
Eric Olson.
Here.
Dave Peterson.
Here.
Scott Perchatsky.
Here.
Henry Veliker.
Here.
9 present. We have a quorum.
Thank you. And do you want to start the introductions of the department heads, please?
Barb Nowak, City Clerk.
Justin Behrens, Director of Public Works.
Eric Bailey, Library Director.
Stephanie Reif, Finance Director.
Josh Finch, City Administrator.
Laura Colbert, Parks and Rec Director.
Pete Krager, Chief of Police.
Thanks. And of course, Josh Warner's in the back room operating the cameras and the microphones and so on. Josh Finch's first night. I think everybody's had a chance to talk to him. We're giving him a little bit of a reprieve tonight. He gets to just watch, although you might ask him some questions along the line. But Justin is still acting as our city administrator tonight. If we can get going here. We didn't want to put too much on Josh.
Just for the IT duties.
Yeah, just the IT duties, yeah. All right, let's go to the consent agenda. These items that are on the consent agenda, we're going to vote on those with one motion unless you see something on the consent agenda that you would like to see moved to the regular agenda.
Move to approve.
Motion by Olson.
Second.
Second by Peterson, that we approve the consent agenda as printed. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against, say no. Motion carried. All right, under regular agenda, we have one change. If you look under C3, we are taking off the appointment at this time for the Historic Preservation Commission. So you can just cross that out on your agenda. Otherwise, the agenda is as printed. We would need a motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Second.
I'm sorry, who said the motion? I'm sorry. Motion by Martin, second by Veliker to approve the regular agenda with that one change. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against, say no. Motion carried. Under announcements and correspondence, we have public input. This is for non-agenda items. If there's anybody in the audience or staff or council members that would like to speak on a non-agenda item, please step up to the podium, give your name and address for the record. You're to limit your time to 3 minutes or less at the podium. Anything for public input tonight? All right, seeing none, we'll go into community and department heads reports. Ann is here tonight? Yeah, Ann Linden is reporting on the Winchester Academy for the Waupaca Area Arts and Cultural Network.
Warm greetings. Welcome to Josh. Haven't met yet, but pleased to see you on board. Mayor Smith, members of the council, ladies and gentlemen of the city staff, warm greetings. I'm Ann Berger Linden, and I'm the executive director and a trustee of Winchester Academy. We are an active member of the Waupaca Area Arts and Culture Network, also known as WACN, or simply the network. I'm taking this opportunity to thank you all, and Henry Velliker in particular, as your representative to the network, as partners in the flourishing arts and culture community that has developed in Waupaca over the last several years, due in part to the Waupaca Cultural Plan initiated in 2018. The network last met on May 1st with representatives of the Nonprofit Leadership Initiative, a program of the Community Foundation of the Fox Valley region. The initiative provides leadership development, resources, and networking community building opportunities to nonprofits across the region. Representatives outlined several core programs in their Leadership Institute, including the Board Academy, Board Bound, aimed at new and prospective board members, Financial Leadership, and Human Resources 101, among others. Participation in these programs by Waupaca area nonprofits has not been robust. There was discussion of creating sessions tailored to the needs of Waupaca organizations. I expect you will be hearing more about that in the months to come. As usual, summers in Waupaca are jam-packed with activities scheduled by network member organizations. We are grateful to the Waupaca Chamber of Commerce and Visitors and Convention Bureau for maintaining a community calendar of events. Just a few highlights of summer events include a celebration of the Shine Community Art Glass Sculpture installed at Rotary Riverview Park. That celebration will be next Thursday, June 26th at 6 p.m. We also have upcoming Strawberry Fest next weekend. Waupaca Community Theater's production of Hello Dolly later in July and the first week in August. The Waupaca Historical Society tours of the Railroad Depot and Hutchinson House are ongoing. The Waupaca Area Public Library has a plethora of programs. Summer Nights Concert, Arts on the Square, and of course, the Winchester Academy Summer Series, which we're already halfway through. Winchester Academy offers approximately 22 programs each year on Monday evenings, usually in the library's lower-level meeting rooms just down the hall. Our programs are arranged into 3 series: winter, spring, summer, and fall. Our free programs are aimed at adults, though everyone is welcome to attend, and we cover almost any topic from A to Z, utilizing academics from colleges and universities throughout the state, as well as professionals and local experts. We attract anywhere from 40 to 140 people to downtown for each program. We benefit from our membership in WACN and appreciate the partnerships we have developed with other member organizations. And I want to just highlight that we're looking forward to our 4th annual 7th grade Outdoor Experience Day on September 26th at Eco Park in collaboration with Waupaca Middle School science teachers and the City of Waupaca Parks and Rec Department. And we thank Laura Colbert especially for her support. We continue to receive excellent support from the city's community media department. Thank you, Josh, over there, in the form of on-air promotion of our programming, recording and rebroadcasting of our programs, online video availability, and occasional necessary technical support. We enjoyed hosting the city media department with their kickoff program to our summer series earlier this month. We are grateful to the library, thank you Eric Bailey, for making their excellent accessible facilities available to us, and to the city facilities staff for keeping the building clean and comfortable. We're once again looking forward to participating in the Yuletide celebration in December, as it has become a highlight of the holiday season for our community. The city's support from police, fire, media, and streets departments is essential to the Yuletide festivities, and we're looking forward to another festive series of events. Thank you for your continued interest in and support of Winchester Academy and WACN.
Thank you, Ann. We appreciate you coming here and letting us know what's going on. Thanks. All right, next up is actually department head reports. Eric, it looks like you're first in line tonight.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Library's report starts on page 10 in your packet. Some notes in particular for this month's report. The search for a new integrated library system is ongoing. That is going to be the new central piece of software that the Outagamie Waupaca library system will be running on. It's been narrowed down to the top 2 contenders. So I will have more updates on that in the future. The library board will be voting, fingers crossed, on Wednesday on a walking books policy. This is basically a home delivery program. It'll be staffed and run by volunteers. We already have 5 interested parties looking for home delivery and twice that number of volunteers looking to select materials and take them to the homebound. So we're very excited to get this up and running. We do have a DPI initiative that we're hosting right now as part of their Speak Up for Libraries program. It is called We the People Read. It's postcards available at the library to send to your local legislator. It's a program that's aimed at raising awareness around ongoing budget cuts to library funding and around the elimination of the Institute of Museum and Library Services at the federal level. So if you're interested in learning more about those, swing by the library. I am also excited to report that we have a online store that we've opened up to sell library merchandise. There's a link to that from our site. In the past, when the Friends of the Library have sold things there at the library, we've been limited in what we've been able to offer because we need to stock it. And that means we have to have inventory on hand, and that keeping inventory on hand has also often meant that we being the Friends of the Library, did not actually turn a profit on things. So while there is a portion of the proceeds that goes to support the vendor at Threadless, not having to have stock means that we'll always be coming out ahead, which is a good thing. Other than that, I'll wrap up by saying that activity continues to increase. The trend as far as visits to the library increasing continues in 2025. We're now just behind where we were in 2019, pre-pandemic, which is very exciting to see. And that's my report.
All right. Thank you, Eric. Any questions, comments for Eric? All right, let's go over to finance. Steph?
All right, thank you, Mayor. My report can be found on page 24 in your packet. We've completed the annual P-Core report with the DOR, and we are continuing to work with McClone to complete our property insurance renewal forms and prepare for our upcoming workers' comp audit. We did have our joint review board earlier this afternoon, I should say, and just presenting the current status of the tax increment financing districts within the city. As we prepare for our budget workshops, I'm just working on getting all of the department head worksheets distributed out so they can start planning. And I do have some training coming up later this month. I will be attending the GFOA annual conference in Washington, D.C. That is it.
Thank you, Steph. Anybody questions, comments for Steph? All right, Laura, Parks and Rec.
Thanks, Mayor. Well, I have really exciting news. Our site prep is going to occur yet this week for the rec center expansion. So you'll start seeing some action outside, and we may begin the demo of the annex building as early as next week. We are moving forward, and the projected timeline is that we are hoping to be done by early summer, if not late spring next year. So we're really, really excited that that is underway. If you did not get the email, we are having a groundbreaking ceremony next Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. You're all invited. And then we are also doing a goose roundup at the end of this week. So just wanted you all to know that that's going to happen yet again this year. We've got quite a few at Shadow and elsewhere in the city. So we're going to see what we can do to help get rid of some of the various bad viruses and bacteria that are caused by those geese so that our beach stays clean. We are having a comprehensive outdoor rec plan visioning session tomorrow night at the rec center at 5:30. So that should help us to get really good details on how to move forward with our parks and rec. We have a few really fun activities coming up this summer. Our outdoor movie is happening August 12th. We are offering a city parks bus tour for the first time ever, August 27th. You get to see all 14 parks, plus the cemetery and the dog park and Lakeman Field, and go on a few hikes. One of the most exciting things that happened this spring is that we had an Eagle Scout put in ADA paths from the sidewalk at Lower South Park going into the water at the beach. So people with strollers, people with walkers, people in a wheelchair, anybody who has difficulty navigating over the sand can now access the water via those mats. And we're very thankful to Adam Nierig and his Eagle Scout troop for putting those mats in. It's going to be a huge asset for our beach. And we had our very, very, very successful Eco Park Environmental Day. I'd like to thank 4 people from the library staff, Eric included. Steph came out and saved the day, so I want to thank Steph. And we had a lot of other people from, say, the high school. Also, Eric's mom came out and did bee stuff. And we had a tick guy from UW-Madison come. So it was a really successful, beautiful day. The kids learned a lot and they had a lot of fun. And you already learned about the Shine Project, and that is pretty much all we got. Don't forget, city band concerts are happening every Friday night at South Park. They start at 7 p.m.
Thanks, Laura. Any questions, comments for Laura? Go over to the PD.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My report can be found on page 32 of your packets. In the month of May, the police department responded to 615 calls for service. 64 traffic stops were conducted, which resulted in 42 citations and 60 warnings. A total of 17 referrals for criminal charges were sent to the district attorney's office. One of our higher profile, I don't know if it's the right word, but the higher call that we had was on May 28th. Officers conducted a search warrant on the 600 block of Tower Road. During the course of that search warrant, 59.9 grams of cocaine, 504 grams of marijuana, and 14.7 grams of methamphetamine were seized. So a higher quantity of all 3 illegal substances were found. 2 gentlemen were arrested, and charges were referred to the district attorney's office to reference those that large amount of drugs that were found. Each year, the number of officers who commit suicide is always higher than the actual number of officers that die in the line of duty. With that, along with obviously the stress of our profession, we've continued our mental wellness with rebellious wellness. A lot right there, sorry. With therapist Jordan Dieter. She was contracted with us last year, and officers had the opportunity to meet with her. And we're encouraging that as well, as we encourage all our employees to have physical checks done on our wellness. We're also encouraging the mental aspect as we move forward. So we're continuing that contract with her. It's gotten a lot of positive feedback from the officers, and Jordan's well connected in the first responder community and has other contracts throughout the county, working with other law enforcement agencies as well. So it's been a good partnership, and we look forward to continuing that relationship. Some of our training that we're doing, we just took the League Mutual Insurance. So the city's insurance company offers a simulator type training that we can focus on de-escalation techniques, verbal engagement, and high stress encounters through active scenarios. This comes from our insurance company free of charge, so our officers will be going through that in the next couple months, and we may open it up to other agencies throughout the county to be part of that training as we move forward. Some of our community engagement updates or events that have happened. On May 27th, Cameron Durant, our school resource officer, along with Sergeant Zuby, attended the Waupaca High School Senior Award Ceremony, and through our Community Engagement Committee, we were able to award a first annual Waupaca Police Department scholarship that was awarded to Samantha Klisment. She will be attending the University of Duluth in the fall and studying criminology. We look forward to continuing to be able to do that every year. A lot of that's, again, it's fundraising events that the Engagement Committee and the PD do on their own time to be able to come up with funds to be able to give back to the community, and we look forward to continuing to do that. Cops on the Rooftop event that we had on May 16th at Dunkin' Donuts. It was a well-attended event. We were able to raise $1,300 for Special Olympics. We were there from 6 a.m. to noon. The weather was perfect, so I think that had a lot to do with everything. It all lined up great. So we'll continue to do that and continue to be that partner for Special Olympics. Along with that, we had our June 5th Wisconsin Law Enforcement Torch Run, a luncheon that was held at Riverside Park for our local athletes. That torch run is a send-off to our local athletes as they head down to UW Whitewater for the Olympic Games, the Summer Olympic Games. We had several community partners involved with us that attended that event and helped make that possible. I just want to recognize Go Right Way, Theta Care Waupaca nurses, Waupaca High School cross-country team got involved this year and actually ran with the torch. Officer Shabilsky, the high school resource officer, who also is an assistant coach for the cross-country team, ran with the torch, so it was a great event partnering with them. Waupaca Fire District, the Wisconsin State Patrol was involved, the Sheriff's Office, New London PD, and the Iola Police Department also attended that event. So that's all I have. Any questions?
Thank you, Chief.
Yep.
Let's go over to IT community media there. Josh?
First thing I'm working on is upgrades to our Wi-Fi. Finishing off this building, the police and fire departments were upgrading our access points to new ones with Wi-Fi 6. That gives much faster speed, and then it does better penetration through walls, so that helps get better coverage throughout the buildings. I'm also working on updating or putting new batteries in some of our battery backup units that protect various IT and other technology around the city. Those swap out the batteries every 5 years to make sure they're able to hold an adequate charge. This week we implemented multi-factor authentication on the office computers at the police department to increase our security there, and in 2 weeks we'll be doing the same on the squad car computers. Going to give everyone a chance to get used to it in the office before we do it in more places. The past 2 Thursdays, our Spectrum fiber connection here at City Hall has gone down due to various fiber cuts. We've had the chance to utilize and work out some kinks on our backup connection, so when it happens again this Thursday, we'll be fully prepared for it. And then spend some time removing all the IT equipment and some various useful accessories for the future from the annex building in preparation of that being torn down. That's all I've got.
Thanks, Josh. Anybody have any questions, comments? Thank you, Josh. Barb, our clerk.
Thanks, Mayor. My report can be found on page 40. We've been busy with license renewal. Most of the liquor license and operator license and a couple other ones renew July 1st, so we've been busy with that. Been doing a lot of special assessment letters for when people refinance or sell their property. So that's been keeping the clerk, finance, and community and economic development office busy. Board of Review meeting was held on May 27th. Nobody came to object anything at the meeting. There were a couple calls made to BOMAR, but they resolved before the meeting. And that's about it. Nothing else new.
Thanks, Barb. Questions, comments? All right, Public Works, Justin.
Thanks, Mayor. In wastewater, as usual, start there. We have a bunch of projects that are just kind of getting backlogged, but some notable ones. Our Bowlby lift station is well underway, and we're working through the design of that. There is some pretty significant drainage issues down near the swamp. So while we do some replacement of our wastewater and sanitary, we're also going to make some improvements to the storm sewer system as well. Street side, Elm Street is definitely in full swing as of today. Do not try to drive through Elm Street past the Foundry or from 49. You will not be able to make it through. Unless you live there, then you are free to come and go as please. So just be aware that it's going to be in construction mode well into September. So plan your route around and please be safe. We sold some older equipment on Wisconsin Surplus. Some of it was street department, some of it was water department. Altogether just shy of $12,000. So looking to put that back into our replacement funds for future purchases. Water side, we're working on improving our bulk water sales process. So we sell bulk water to contractors. at a different rate than our regular customers. And right now, we're just filling them up out on straight from a hydrant, and we're looking to put up a small shed with more of a, I guess, modern system to keep track of the water usage there. So that new shed will be near our newer building on Kronk Way. The guys there are testing their larger meters, so anything 2 inches or larger needs to be tested and verified every 2 years. So it's a pretty significant effort when this does happen. And then finally, our SCADA system, which is how our utilities communicate, or our equipment communicates with us. We're having some significant issues right now with communication. The guys are doing a good job of trying to troubleshoot in it and come up with a cost-effective way to fix it. Similar things have happened in the past, but we're kind of gearing up towards maybe not a wholesale replacement, but a improvement or replacement in the future. So I know I bring up SCADA issues sometimes here, and it's just because when something has to get replaced, it's never cheap. So facility side, our new boilers were ordered for the rec center, and we're hoping to have those in place and coordinated with the expansion. So we have the 2 contractors already in touch and communicating with that. And general announcements, so Fulton Street, our next big project slated for construction in 2027, that is also being planned right now. So I think it's fairly important to recognize, the improvements we're making. Elm Street right now, Bowlby, which will replace much of Smith Street and some of Bailey Street, Fulton Street in 2027, and then finally our Ped Bridge in 2028. So those are major improvements. We're upgrading all of our infrastructure, replacing the old utilities, as well as improving our roadways all at the same time. So some big things to come. And so I should close the loop on Fulton Street. We will have a couple public meetings, and right now, while we do not have it scheduled, we are looking to schedule something sometime coming up this July. And we'll have several exhibits, options, things for the public to comment on, and we will take those comments and implement them in the design. That's it.
Thanks, Justin. Any questions, comments? Paul Hagan, I know that Matt or Brittany weren't able to come tonight. Anything from the airport as the chairman?
Nothing comes to mind.
Okay, thank you. I should have asked you ahead of time, of course. Also, our fire chief was unable to attend tonight. He's on vacation this week, but he did submit a report. It looks like it's on page 79, starts on page 79 of your packet. Josh Finch, you have anything you want to say?
I'm excited to be here. Simple. Really looking forward to working with you all, and looking forward to relieving Justin of his duties as IT guy up there.
Sounds good. All right, thank you. Under new business, we have a future development and land use feasibility report, and we have Tricia Braun from New Day Planning is here for us tonight. And Tricia, I'll turn it over to you.
Awesome, wonderful. Nice to see you all again. I brought with me my colleague, Peter Haney. We'll introduce ourselves a little bit more later. I know Justin's pulling up a PowerPoint here. I can get started and give a little bit of background. I know when we were here talking about the proposal and moving forward with it, that was very much based on an increased interest in a specific area of the community, the area south of Highway 10 and east of County Road A, that in your comprehensive plan and future land use map had been designated for housing, mixed use, and highway commercial. And the interest that had been kind of rising up and in more frequency was more industrial, kind of ag industrial in nature. And so the mayor and former administrator Aaron asked the question, is there a way that we could look at this without starting down the path of a full comprehensive plan update to understand what would this look like? We don't want to take these actions or move forward with something just to have it sit for another 20 years like it has without the interest of what uses are included in that site. And so, Aaron, or Nurses, were you able to get it?
The PowerPoint's not working. Is this it?
No, that's the actual report.
You want your flash drive?
Hold on,
back?
pivot. 1 second. Peter, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, it's good to meet all of you. Some of you have met over the phone. Mayor, I've met you as well. My name is Peter. I've been working with Tricia on this project primarily on the data analytics and research. I've spent about the last 12 years or so in political consulting, primarily with an economic development lens. But in this project in particular, I've been spending a lot of time in census data and Bureau of Labor Statistics data, and then in reviewing some of the qualitative reports that are happening throughout the county, the region, and the state.
Okay, I think we're ready to go. Switching screens here. So as we're getting into this, there's a few slides in the market overview that we're going to fly through because that's just kind of setting the framework for a lot of the discussions that we had. So for sake of time, we're focused more on the results and recommendations.
If you come out from behind the curtain.
Podium.
Hey, Josh Werner, if you're back there and you can hear us, you want to step out?
I think I maybe have it.
Thank you.
Tricia,
Yeah.
while they're speaking, Mayor, may I ask her a question while
Yeah,
there's,
absolutely.
yeah. One of the terms that you use within your report is, I believe, New North, relating
Yes.
to some sort of economic
Yep.
community. Could you define that for me? I didn't really get a
No,
definition.
no, actually, that's a great
from the
question,
report.
and I think sometimes you just assume everybody knows your regional economic development partner, so thank you for asking that. So in this region, or in the state of Wisconsin, the state has kind of an umbrella economic development strategy for which it funnels a lot of projects, leads, pursuits through their regional partners. New North encompasses Waupaca County, so Waupaca is included in that. They're based in Green Bay. And it's essentially everything from, Door County down to Waupaca on the southern edge of it and straight east. And so they really are the point people for a lot of the RFIs, our requests for information when manufacturers or larger companies are looking for sites in Wisconsin and have either opened it up to the whole state or have narrowed in and included this region. They are incredible partners. They also have a workforce development arm, communities, but they are a good partner. So Waupaca County is very involved in the organization. I believe Jared was and Aaron after Jared left with the organization as well.
Thanks, Josh.
Are they related to the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation?
They are a partner. So
Okay.
under WDC, they have 11 regional economic development groups. New North is one of them.
Okay, thank you very much.
Tricia, the PowerPoint that you have that's up on the screen now, that's the same that you have sent us and put in our
Yes.
packet? So council members, you can pull that up on your computer.
Yep.
You are running the PowerPoint, then
Yes.
it's by you, so,
It's
Okay.
from the computer behind you.
Okay.
yeah, not your computer, but the one behind you.
Oh, sorry.
Yep,
Oh,
yeah.
oh, it works. Okay. So we already talked about this, but I did want to show the map just to orientate yourself. I'm sure you are all very, very familiar with this area that we are focused on. And you can just see the different color blocks, the different land uses that are in there, none of them which include manufacturing. So in the just, south of the airport, some of the, the undeveloped lands and the township areas and the extraterritorial zoning areas that are around that as well. I introduced myself before to most of you, but for those who weren't there, and Josh and I had a chance to talk this morning, I'm economic developer by career of over 25 years, over 26 now, in economic development at the local and county and state level. And last May, I started my own consulting firm focused on community development, also helping manufacturers with site selection and incentives, and small projects along the way, as you're finding as they hop out of the woodwork. And Peter, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Yep, and did a quick introduction there in the beginning, but I was formerly at Baker Tilly, which is now currently the 6th largest accounting firm, all in the public sector space, and I led their business development efforts and their public sector strategy, and have recently left to partner with Trisha and some other folks as well who are in the economic development space.
Thanks, Peter. So this is the part I'm gonna walk through. So in order for us to understand really what we were starting with, Peter and I wanted to just really get to know what was happening in the Waupaca area, what was affecting your economy, what opportunities were there, what recent just changes or trends that we were seeing in there. So just to do a snapshot, obviously, in terms of non-service provider industries, manufacturing and agriculture are by far the largest industries serving the Waupaca community and the Waupaca region. In terms of population and the good little stories that come out of this, one of the trends that Wisconsin had seen 5 years ago before that was a loss of population. While it's still not out of the woods, the most recent trend of the last 5 years has been somewhat reversed, and especially the New North region. It is the highest growing region in the state of Wisconsin, and the city of Waupaca's population growth has somewhat mirrored what New North is seeing. And it's a combination of immigration that has come in, some migrant workforce, also sort of seeing a trend of younger people, whether or not COVID had anything to do with it, and finding different opportunities outside of larger cities, or just that work from home mentality that has provided some additional opportunities for the region. But in terms of boxes being checked when people are looking at investing in an area, this is a good story. Business climate, the community is very business friendly, proactive. They showed that on a recent pursuit that they are still working on, coming together and working as a team with the county, with the region, with the state. Very strong story there. Also, central location, while it may seem that Waupaca is somewhat rural, it is connected to pretty easy to access highway systems, transportation systems close to other larger markets that feed into and they can feed off of for the area. The airport is another significant asset that not a lot of communities have, with the capacity to do more. Utilities, probably the number one thing that companies are looking for when they're looking to either expand or relocate to a region, particularly manufacturers, advanced manufacturing, is power. It has become one of the top site selection criteria that they're looking for across the U.S. In this particular site, it has been determined that there is the ability to provide up to 15 megawatts of electricity, not large enough to serve a big, huge data center, but that could provide 3 to 5 decent-sized manufacturers with enough power to run their plants or their facilities. The challenge, one thing just to be as Justin probably is painfully aware in some cases, the utility infrastructure in Wisconsin is a puzzle. It is crossed over, as you can see with the crosshatches just around Waupaca. What you're seeing is electrical providers and then gas providers that are different, and then some areas have, like WPS is serving gas, but Alliant serving the power, so they're all like this mishmash. So even if like WPS can get power to a site, there's cases where they'd have to go through like an Alliant area. So it makes it cumbersome. So it's just one thing to be aware of or mindful of as you're looking at projects that would take a decent amount of power. The municipal utilities are good when it comes to capacity, so there was no concern there. Additional economic development priorities of the area, continued focus on housing development, still continuing to grow that workforce base and accommodate all types of levels of employees and ages throughout the community. Additional childcare options. It seemed like there's been some good progress in the community, but continuing to work towards that. Again, leveraging the location and the natural assets around the community, and then encouraging more retail and tourism to help support some of those downtown businesses and investments that have been made into the heart and core of the community. So the next step then, we went into taking kind of, okay, this is our picture that we have. We understand all the, what Waupaca looks like from a data and an analytic perspective, was getting the firsthand insights and information from your stakeholders. Those included the largest non-service providing manufacturers, so Waupaca Foundry, Guzman Enterprises, we had Folk Brothers Construction, and Brooks Farms as for examples of some of the private sector. Then we also had the leadership of New North, the business attraction folks from the state's Economic Development Corporation, the state's Manufacturing Chamber, and the county. I feel like I'm forgetting one, but several people, and we're getting their insights into what they're seeing, what types of projects are looking at areas like Waupaca, what projects have looked at Waupaca, and either for some reason, and what we've learned, it was lack of sites, we're not able to include them in consideration, and just trends from industries. What are your primary drivers seeing from an innovation and new industry, emergent industry that could provide additional insights and opportunities? From those conversations, the highlighted ones really rose to the top. Without question, food and beverage processing, products and packaging, particularly anything around sustainability, was almost across the board stated as a potential low-hanging fruit opportunity for Waupaca should it tries to pursue those types of companies. And again, metal fabrication and equipment manufacturing, particularly those that feed into the supply chain of Waupaca Foundry and the other foundries that are located throughout the New North and the northern region of Wisconsin, citing that the synergy of having some of these manufacturers and these operations close outweighs some of the labor challenges that may end up competing for it, which I think was a surprise or new information that the conditions have changed so much that supply chain almost is overcoming, and employment has improved as well, so that helps. Other more ancillary uses, warehouse and distribution to support the existing businesses, and then large tourism retail. Things that were quoted were something like a Bass Pro Shop, or another business class hotel was something that could be needed on the north side of town, was mentioned by a couple of folks as well. So those were the uses that rose to the top from those conversations. From there, we actually took that information and then tested it with data, and I'm going to let Peter explain that.
All right, and the reason why we're going into some of this data is...
Peter, can you get closer?
Go right into it. Absolutely. So the reason why we're going into some of this data is twofold. So one is because we want to make sure, that our conclusions are being supported by what we're seeing in the data. And second is because if there are site selectors who are looking at the area, they are going to be looking at the same Census Bureau of Labor Statistics data that we're looking at as well. So we looked at it in two categories. One, quantitative data, and then the second would be qualitative data. Starting first with the quantitative data, we wanted to understand the demographics and how the demographics, including housing, social, and economic data, compare to both peer cities that are within Wisconsin and then also peer metropolitan areas that are within the Great Lakes region. So starting first with peer communities, we're looking at, you can see the benchmark cities here, at a couple of different cities of relatively the similar size to Waupaca within the state. And by and large, Waupaca ranks fairly well between these peer cities when we're looking at some of these social data. And particularly, the housing stock has a little bit more diversity in terms of the number of units that exist. The manufacturing employment is strong, as is not a surprise. Home values are strong, population growth, as we mentioned before. Household earnings, generally speaking, rank well compared to the benchmark cities. The one area to watch is that vacancy rates are actually really low, which in this case is potentially still a sign that there's probably more improvement to be made from a housing stock perspective, which may not necessarily be a surprise, even though that there has been a significant improvement. When we're looking at it from a metropolitan statistical area perspective, like I mentioned, we're looking at states along the Great Lakes region, and particularly we're wanting to understand metro areas that have similar industry makeup as this area. So when we're looking at metro areas, Waupaca's unique because you're both between Stevens Point and the Fox Valley, Appleton, Neenah area. You're smack dab in the middle of those two areas. So we looked at both of those two metro areas compared to some of the peers. And in that too, the areas score very strongly. So that's something to be proud of, particularly, again, around manufacturing jobs. It actually has the highest median earnings, and so it's well positioned to attract skilled labor. When we're actually looking through specifically at some of the industry concentration data, we noticed that there's a couple of areas to be considering where the peer cities are actually stronger than the region here in Waupaca, and particularly that's in fabrication and machining. So that points to the supply chain that would go to the Waupaca foundry, that there's probably some opportunities where there's industries in pure metropolitan areas that have stronger industry concentration of suppliers to a metal manufacturer. Last thing then we'll say here is on the quantitative side, this is looking at a lot of reports for economic development partners like New North, some manufacturing reports, getting understanding sentiment surveys from employers, and largely there's no surprises in those. So it was all pretty much what we expected.
So wrapping it all up, at this point I don't think it's probably any surprise that it was very much unanimous in the feedback that we received that this area would be an area to dedicate towards industrial uses in your future land use map and in your comprehensive plan for a number of reasons. They'll state in the next slide, but specifically looking at those industries, focusing on food, dairy, metals, and equipment manufacturing that complement, support, and actually bolster the existing industries and farmers and producers that are in the area. Why is that? There's a couple of reasons, and I think one of the interviewees had specifically commented that it was a good decision for the city of Waupaca to alter some of the uses or change the business park uses to allow for the housing development because that was critically needed at the time. But now there needs to be some larger lots or opportunities if they are going to try to attract more investment. And while there are smaller lots in and around the city, most of the projects that are looking at Wisconsin are at least 20 acres, minimum 20 acres at this point, and most of them average is probably closer to 100 acres because of the type of footprint that they're having. If they're putting large automation systems, significant investment, $80 million plus, for example, they want areas, they want land to grow. They want other ancillary pieces of their operations to be on site with that. So not having those size of lots in the area to be able to promote to those potential investors is a challenge. I think the county made this the example, or gave the example that there have been, I want to say in 2024, 9 RFIs, which is a request for information from a company that's looking to locate into an area and doing their due diligence, kicking tires, et cetera. And he wasn't able to include any sites because there weren't any that were large enough to fit the requirements. So that in of itself is a big rationale. The geographic area of it, you don't have existing single-family homes or residential areas right abutting it that you're going to cause a NIMBY, not in my backyard situation when a company wants to invest there. You have highway access. You have a lot of the pieces, and you check a lot of the boxes in addition to the examples that I stated in the first portion of the presentation that are present and exist in this specific area. Again, utility access, we talked about that when I talked about utilities. It will take about 18 months. It's not there now. It would be an extension of the existing lines. There is I think it's a 12 kV that's there, so it could support the construction of the project, and anything that's of significant size would take longer than 18 months anyway, so it could be done simultaneously with the development of the project. And then just the lack of demand for what it currently is actually zoned for, which is that highway commercial multifamily in that area, sort of speaks to potentially this would have higher demand, and then almost most importantly, the stakeholder support across the board for bringing more of that So what's next then? I was asked by the mayor and Aaron to really kind of get specific in some of these next step action items. They are all recommendations, obviously, and so now with Josh on board, weighing in and really feeding into some of these. But these are from my perspective what would make the most sense, and obviously it's starting with updating the land use maps, land use and zoning maps, and that's a statutory process. It takes a lot. It's a big process to take on, which is why we wanted to start with this piece of it to understand if that would make sense, and then look at designating certain areas. for
Tricia,
heavy
can you get
industrial.
closer to the mic again, please? Yeah.
I would know better by now. And I can't talk with my hands as much if I'm designating areas that are like closer to the highway, have more frontage visibility as lighter industrial, have them be more of that like kind of signature piece that you might want along the highway, and then more heavier industrial uses as it kind of goes back further outside of the visibility of the frontage area. And then within this, it doesn't necessarily have to be a hard and fast. It's either manufacturing or industrial of some sort in that area, especially in the frontage area. There could be a process to include like a conditional use if, for example, a significant retail tourism user wanted to locate there, or a business class hotel or whatever it might be that could be complementary to a lighter industrial use, but not necessarily industrial. Next steps is to understand really where are the landowners that were included in that kind of focused growth area. Where are they at in terms of their interest in either developing, selling, or not, and just knowing where they are. It may not change how or what you do, but it may help you kind of give you some guidance on how you prioritize some of the dedications. So additional next steps, and this is a lot, and I apologize as you're looking up there for the smaller font, but just understanding really what you are looking at, doing a market study of other comps, land comps that have sold in the area of a similar region to just kind of understand and know what makes sense, what's realistic, what would a company purchase, what's just really where would that fit in. And there is potentially a way where a utility, Alliant Energy, did this in a project in Beaver Dam where they actually went and secured options on property in the area so that if a major project came, they were ready to go. Now, that doesn't mean it happens overnight. They had those options on the property for 5 years and then had to renew it one time. And now Meta is building their big data center there. So for them, it worked out. It was on a freeway. That's just an example. Not necessarily, like there's maybe developers that would be willing to take on some of that responsibility to help do some site assembly for you if that's something you'd be interested in, and hence goes into the master developer comment. On the report, and I put it up here too, is just some guidance to give you examples of what an average, like say average advanced manufacturer would require for the items that we talked about: acreage, utility capacity, power, all of those elements. And then lastly, I think there's one more after this, is one of the biggest factors is site readiness when it comes to competing for projects. For example, if Waupaca had a project or a site that had 40 acres and it met the requirements in all of the shapes or form, and another community in Wisconsin that hit all the other marks but had all of their utilities mapped out, some like the phase 1 environmental done, they knew what road bumps could be hit, that site would likely get priority of it. Knowing everything that could be go wrong, any surprises with the site beforehand, is important. Also, along that, continue to build strong relationships with your regional partners. And then kind of shifting a little bit, but these came up in the conversations, and I thought they were interesting enough to include as additional options sort of outside of this scope, but somewhat complementary, is to create an inventory. Like this is one area of the community that we looked at but you have a lot of other great sites and pockets in the community that could be right for a certain kind of development. Potentially do, build an inventory and maybe a strategy around which ones would be best for multifamily, what would be, better suited for retail, and potentially even have like a marketing plan around that. And then lastly, I think all of the local interviews had said they felt that the airport is a gem that could be leveraged in a much more meaningful way. So with that, any questions for us?
Thank you. Tricia, anybody have any questions? She did give a presentation in front of City Planning Commission. I think it was at the May meeting, was it? I'm pretty sure. The May meeting. So I know the planning commissioners had an opportunity to ask some questions. Henry, go ahead.
I think the presentation of the reports was some great timing because our budget process is starting up. So we might, if there's some activity council, staff feels like they could prioritize, we've got the ability to, budget some resources if we have to.
Sure.
Keep moving on it.
Anybody else? Well, Tricia, thank you.
Okay.
Tell me, you guys, Peter, both of you.
Thank you.
Josh will be in touch with you. We'll keep moving. All right, next up, we have some appointments that we need to make to some of our committees. Council President Paul Mayo is not here tonight, so I've asked Paul Hagan to take his place in these appointments for committees. So I'll turn it over to Paul Hagan.
Okay. Mayor Smith has appointed Josh Finch to the following boards and committees: Emergency Management Committee, Personnel Committee, East Central Planning Commission alternate, Waupaca Area Convention and Visitors Bureau Room Tax Board. Is there a motion to approve the mayor's appointments?
I'll make that motion.
Moved by Olson,
Second.
second by Veliker to approve the mayor's appointments. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Paul.
You're welcome.
Great job.
Thank you.
Next up, we have license report number 1725. That's on page 103 of your packet. Again, these are operator's license or bartender's license. We'd be looking for a motion to approve these.
Move to approve.
Motion by Martin,
Second.
second by Peterson, that we approve license report number 1725. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against, say no. Motion carried. Next up, under the issues, projects, discussion, we are here tonight to discuss the reduction of service hours and discontinuation of shared ride taxi service agreement with Brown Cab. We're really here not for an action item tonight, but to just tell you where we're at right now and what our recommendation is going to be for the future. You'll see this at the next meeting, at the actual opportunity to vote on this. I'm going to turn it over to Stephanie, but first of all, I want to thank all of you that have been sitting in the audience so patiently tonight, because I know you're here for that reason. So we appreciate that you were able to sit through the rest of our meeting for us tonight. So Stephanie's going to give us some background and actually let you know why we're in this position that we're in right now. Steph?
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to take this time to notify Common Council and the city staff that a public notice will be published in this week's newspaper informing the community of the city's plans to reduce service hours and propose the potential discontinuation of the service. These actions are being considered in response to the escalating operational costs and ongoing funding challenges. So I'll give you a little bit of a background as to why we're here. We currently have an approved tax levy allocation of $10,000 to subsidize this transit fund. However, financial trends over the past 2 years have revealed a significant funding shortfall due to declining state and federal funding and rising operational costs. In 2024, the actual city subsidy required was $116,000, which is far exceeding our approved $10,000 budget. Preliminary projections for 2025 indicate a further increase, with the subsidy estimated at approximately $135,000. We are currently in our second year of a 2-year agreement with Brown Cab. Following a thorough review of the audited 2024 financials, it became clear that the city must explore alternatives to continue offering transit services without causing substantial strain on the city's general fund. In collaboration with representatives from WISDOT and Brown Cab, a reduction in service hours was proposed to help mitigate this deficit. While this step may lessen the gap, it will not adequately address the financial imbalance. The new service hours that are being proposed are set to go into effect August 1st of this year. And I'll just kind of briefly go over what those service changes are. Monday through Thursday, the previous hours were 6:30 a.m. to 10 p.m., and they will now be being proposed to be 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Friday, previous hours were 6:30 a.m. to 2:30 a.m., and the proposed hours will be 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, previous hours were 7:30 a.m. to 2:30 a.m., and the proposed hours are 7:30 a.m. to 8 p.m. The total reduction in service hours per week is 23.5 hours. On a further note, over the past 2 years, the city has also implemented fare increases for both individual riders and agencies. Despite these efforts, revenue has not kept pace with costs, partly due to decreased agency participation driven by internal restructuring and budget constraints, as well as a decline in ticket sales and usage. As state and federal aid has reverted to pre-pandemic levels, the inflation continues to drive up service costs, and substantially the program has come under increasing pressure. For 2025, state and federal funding is anticipated to cover approximately 53% of expenditures. Based on budget projections, the total operating expenses are estimated to be $672,000, with a net operating deficit of about $497,000. Of this amount, $359,000 will be covered by state and federal sources. That leaves the projected city obligation of, like I said earlier, approximately $135,000, which is 13 times more than the budgeted amount. Given these circumstances, the city is exploring other options for public transit, keeping in mind the financial well-being of the city's budget. We have also reached out to WISDOT with the idea to go out for RFP in August to see if we can get a better service rate. However, we were reminded that when we went with Brown Cab, it was because they were the lowest bidder. So they also shared that the current rates other municipalities are paying were either the same or higher of our current service rates. They also shared with me that other municipalities are experiencing these same growing pains. So with that, that is what will be presented at our July 19th council meeting. There will be the public hearing will be at that date as well, at 6 p.m.
Okay, so there's two reasons for us to have this discussion tonight. One is because of the recommendation of reduction in hours for the rest of the year. And then the second reason is to notify Brown Cab that we plan on going out for an RFP. Let me step back. we're going to notify Brown Cab that we are no longer going to be under the same agreement that we have been for the last 2 years. And we need to tell them at least 120 days ahead of time?
Correct.
So that's why we're doing that. We have been told by the state of Wisconsin that going out for RFP is probably not going to reduce our cost, and it might even increase our cost to do that. So there's a good chance that we might not even apply for an RFP, and the plan would be to look for alternative methods to offer shared ride in our community. And what that might look like, we're not sure exactly. We have had discussion with Waupaca County about doing a countywide shared ride type thing. We're looking at, even things that we're familiar with if we're on vacation, like Uber or Lyft or something like that, and what's available in our community in the future. We understand the need for shared ride in our community, but we also need to be fiscally responsible with our monies. And until the state or the federal government is able to figure a different way to generate more revenue up for us for the shared revenue, it's going to be difficult for us to continue that. So that's where we're at. Stephanie did tell you that we are, and I'll just repeat what she just said, we do plan on holding a public hearing. We're required to hold a public hearing, the second meeting in July, so everybody has the opportunity to discuss or let us know their thoughts at that second meeting in July. Okay? Any questions or comments? I know, Dimitri, you had something you wanted to read?
Yeah, I have a constituent who sent me something in this regard. But before I read that, I just wanted to ask, the Waupaca County Catch-A-Ride program, is that something that can fill in some of those gaps, or how does that relate?
Yeah, good question. So the Catch a Ride program is generally for employees who are scheduling a ride to and from work. Yes, it is an option. We are working with the county to see if we can partner with them maybe in the future, as Mayor had kind of alluded to. So we are definitely exploring that.
Okay. So with that, I'll read what the constituent sent me. And he mentions Catch-A-Ride, and I'm not sure if he realizes that's a separate program.
And can I add to that too?
Yeah.
The Catch-A-Ride funding, they are almost out of funds.
Oh.
So they are now applying.
For the 5311 funds, which we currently have. So
Yeah.
we have met with them, and we are partnering. Well, we're not partnering with them. We are working with them. We've connected them with the state representatives as well. So
Okay. So this is from Mike Oforowski. He lives on 314 West Southwestern Avenue, Apartment 3 in Waupaca. To City Council, I have heard about the possible reduction of taxi hours and the elimination of Catch-A-Ride. As someone who is disabled, I have no car, just a walker and manual wheelchair. I wanted to share this note on behalf of those of us who depend on those services. I depend on the taxi service for everything. Community care pays for certain rides, to and from doctor's appointments in town, and to get prescriptions, also to get groceries. However, it is forgotten that we use the service to support local businesses, and for these we pay for our own rides. It is sometimes also forgotten that we are also people who live in a tourist community who want to take part in events as well, even if that event is just a nighttime movie at the Rosa. However, some people use the taxi to go to bars, so the roads stay safe. That would be limited, and I dare say the roads would be less safe if the hours were cut. I ask that the City Council reject the decision to reduce taxi hours and also the elimination of Catch-A-Ride. Thank you. And then P.S. Please add somewhere in my note that not being able to go out and be around people helps me from feeling isolated and is good for my mental health.
Okay. Any questions, comments? Henry, go ahead.
Well, first off, I appreciate the staff and the mayor. It's never a fun time to bring difficult things forward. You can see this affects a lot of people. A couple things. This service is somewhere between 35 and 40 years old, and I'm intimately familiar with it, and probably there's a need to retool it. So maybe this is a good opportunity to really look and really figure out a new approach. I'm curious the ridership numbers, though. I mean, we peaked something like 63,000 miles rides a year. And we have, what, 360 operating days in a year? There's only 5 days or something like that. I mean, that's over 200 rides a day, or 300 rides a day if we're at that level. It would be really disconcerting to me to see it go from 50,000 or 55 down to 30,000. Then we got a real problem. People don't know it's available. Maybe the population that's using it is aging out. They're maybe passed away. So it seems to me like a little more study on kind of the numbers. But my last point, I think it's good to see what the market can bear. But here's a service that's been around a long time, served a lot of people, and even at that higher cost share by us, at the current levels, we're still at something under 20% of the overall cost. And there's not many things we do in city government service provide where we can leverage, $4 for every buck we spend on it. So I'm kind of wondering, what is the problem? Is it the ridership? Our numbers are way down? Or is it truly just the funding that transit money is there something we ought to be doing to lobby for more money, which I know is like barking up a tree or whatever this saying is, just knowing where the feds are going to be with money. I mean, the transit money's probably going to not be there for the feds. So I still think it's a good value, even if we've been budgeting $10,000 for almost 10 years. Had we upped those a little bit at a time every year, we would probably be in this situation. But it is what it is. So, thank you.
Yep. Other comments? Eric, go ahead.
Yeah, I guess backing up what Henry said, I'd like to see some numbers. What day a week? How many rides are we doing each day? What time of day it is? Where's the data on there? Where are we coming up with?
I can tell you this, that we didn't just pull hours out of our hat here. We've done research here to figure out which hours we're able to cut to reduce the cost to us. We could share those numbers with you, certainly.
I would appreciate it.
Yeah, we can certainly share those with you. I mean, the other comment to Henry's comment is too, it's probably all of them, as Stephanie said. It's less funding from the state, less funding from the federal. It costs more money, the expenses are higher, and we have less ridership than we've had in the past. I mean, that's been going down the last few years. So it's all of those things.
Yeah, if we could
Yeah.
see it, but I appreciate everybody kind of looking to figure it out and have an appreciation that it is a good service. It's just we're financially challenged right now. It's just, how do we get through it?
Right. Well, if you think about it, last year, I think Stephanie said it was 118, or was it 116?
116.
118, and we budgeted 10, so that means we had to take $108,000 out of our general fund. We're gonna have to take $125,000 out of our general fund to cover 2025. And if you want to put it in the budget for 2026, then we're going to have to come up with somewhere between $120,000 and $150,000 to continue the service as it is. And where are we going to get that from? You know, I mean, we were lucky that we had some fund balance to be able to cover that this year. But we're not going to be able to continue that at that level. You certainly can't budget 10,000 and know that it's going to cost you 130,000. I mean, that doesn't make fiscal sense at all. I'm sympathetic to the whole thing too. I really am. I've always been somebody that doesn't want to cut services in our community. But we haven't looked at the other options that are out there, and that's all we're saying is that we need to make sure that we're being responsible with our monies, and we're going to look at different options that we have. We're not saying that we don't think it's a shared ride is not a good idea in our community. We do think it's a good idea in our community. We just might have to retool it to look differently than it does now.
One last point, I'll shut up. I'm wondering, we got to deal with the 2025 impact. I'm just wondering if we could, into September, kind of look where we're at with the general fund. I know we've gotten some savings over on the capital side through projects. Is there some money, personnel, where we move some money around so we're not using all fund balance? We can maybe find some money for it, at least for this year. That's not going to change some of the tough decisions for 26, but maybe to get us through this year, so it's not that big of much of an impact.
I think even with the reduction of the 23 hours, and we'll put the math together for you, but even with the reduction of the 23 hours a week, I think it was.
We're saving under $20,000.
Yeah, it isn't a huge savings. So, again, we could look at that if you wanted to continue it at the full amount for the rest of the year. But again, it doesn't seem to make sense when we look at the ridership numbers, and you don't have that in front of you, so you can't base that on that. But
Well, that's what I was saying, Mayor, is we're projecting 135 at the current hours. So 20,000, now we're down to 115,000. I'm talking for 2025. Is there a way we can find other money in budgeted dollars for 2025 that we can move over to meet this deficit?
Sure.
That's just a thought. If there's some
We could have that.
opportunity to do that, to get us through 25, and then we'll have to figure out something for the future.
Well, what happens is we end up just taking from the fund balance, so it doesn't really matter how it's moved, it's still moved from the general fund.
I think that would be probably the better question is that, again, the fund balance, if you wanted to continue the regular hours for the rest of the year, can the fund balance handle it? Because I don't think asking to take money from somebody else's budget to cover this doesn't seem like it makes sense, or it would be feasible to do that. So really the question would be, can the fund balance handle that? And is it the right thing to do? Colin?
Steph, do you know the approximate percentage of the total hours that it's available now that the cut would be? 23 hours is what percentage of, or what the total number of hours is that we're providing the service right now?
Let me just pull it up on
Looks
my
like
email really
15
quick.
times 7 or so.
We'll see who can find it first.
And I think I heard you guys say it would relieve $20,000 of the $120,000 shortfall. Is that correct?
Yeah, so the previous hours were 328 hours per week.
Uh-huh.
So it's reducing it to 304.5.
Okay.
Was that your question?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly what it was.
Anybody else?
Over here.
Yeah, go ahead, Paul.
Were the hours that were cut, was the ridership less during those specific hours?
Yes.
It was?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, we strategically went through this with Brown Cab to make sense of which hours they were not being utilized, so.
May I follow up on that?
You can?
I guess part of the day there's 2 vehicles on the road, is that correct? Is there 2 Brown? Right now, I'm looking on their website, Brown Cab, it says there's 1 vehicle in service in Waupaca right now. Some of the day there's 2?
Depending on the hours and days, yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right, thank you.
There's also the dispatcher that is the full-time position covered as well, so.
Okay, thanks.
Anybody else? Any other comments? You are gonna have a public hearing to talk about this in the meeting in July. So this is just discussion for council tonight? Yep, absolutely. If you wanna have any comments ahead of time, you certainly have the opportunity to discuss that with one of our department heads here too. Okay?
Talk to State Representative Peterson and our state senator. Let them know how you feel. Because that's a big gap. We need more money. We need more transit money. They need to hear from their constituents about it.
So, let's just talk about the July meeting. So let me make sure I get the date right here. Okay, so July 15th is the council meeting that we are going to have the public hearing, and that public hearing will be before the council meeting. There will be a recommendation from the city, the staff, the mayor's office and city staff, that we reduce the hours and that we eliminate the shared ride service through Brown Cab at the end of this year. We are not planning on going out for RFP. Those are gonna be the 2 recommendations that are made, that will be on the agenda for the meeting right after the public hearing. Okay? And just so you understand. All right, any other questions?
So we're dealing just with the 2025 issue, right, on this, or
We still need to notify Brown Cab,
what we're doing at 26?
right?
Yeah. So in theory, we're gonna deal with the funding for 2026 if we're gonna talk about it, decide what to do.
Yeah, I'm not sure that we just have to tell Brown Cab that we're not gonna continue the contract in 2026. We don't have to say that we're not going out for RFP yet, because we don't know that for sure, but that is the recommendation, that we are not gonna go out for RFP. And we're gonna look for alternative ways to handle the service. You know what, to tell you the truth, I feel bad that all these people are here tonight, and sir, so I'm not sure of your name, but I will give you the opportunity to say something if you'd like to.
Do
Okay,
we get him a mic? Do we have a mic?
yeah, we don't have that portable mic.
Yeah,
Can-
perfect, yes.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Give your name, please, and your address, and then go ahead.
My name is Harold Beatty, and I live at King's VA home here in Waupaca, or in Kings, just outside of Waupaca. And it's 210, I can't pronounce the avenue.
Okay.
And I'm in apartment A, Moses Hall, A201. And that's my address. And the reason I like to say is I'm a disabled veteran. A lot of the disabled veterans at Kings like to take the taxi cabs when they can, because they like to come downtown and shop just like a normal person would have to do. And often I that's how I got here tonight was from them. That's so I could attend this meeting. And I enjoy your sharing my comments and privilege to speak to you. And one of the things I'd like to point out that they've been pretty reliable so far. And the house will have a storage unit in Kings lot that I have to go out by the dog training place that I go to when I can to retrieve some of my storage stuff out of there to bring back to my apartment. Actually, it's just a little hospital room. Anyway, that's all we get to live in. So it's not much, but we're grateful that the VA can take care of us. And they take care of us real well, so can't complain. Sometimes I do. And anyway, I'd just like to say I hope this concern about supplying some type of transportation gets cleared up, that we can possibly get the funds somehow, maybe when the country gets back on its feet, or maybe when we get enough funds donated or something. I was just thinking maybe you could have an outside source, have a fund drive or a drive where you could get money, like have a little fair or something for donating to a worthy cause, or like taxi fares or stuff like this. I don't know, you could consider it.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. I thank you for your service.
Thank you, sir, for taking up your time.
Yeah, we've had agreement with the Wisconsin Veterans Home for our taxi service, and actually, it was 5 or 6 years ago that the Wisconsin Veterans Home reduced that amount of funding that we received to help fund your travels back and forth from the Veterans Home into the city of Waupaca. So that would be one area that we could maybe work with again, is try to get
get someone's attention, bring the attention that the veterans in the home would like to take a taxi somewhere. Because they like to get out sometimes when they get in those rooms and by themselves, and they know where to go, and you're in a wheelchair, and all they have to do is call a taxi that has a wheelchair provider, and they can take you to a restaurant. But
absolutely.
You'd have to have someone go with you. That's just it. You'd have to find an aide or someone that could share. I got a companion that my fiduciary had him hired so he could be my companion to get me around. That's the gentleman that pushed me up here.
Tonight, sure. Absolutely. Well, we'll try everything we can, but again, we need to be fiscally responsible to our taxpayers too, and so
I know, sir.
So we need to, we have to look at alternatives.
That's like they're telling me I got to balance my budget.
Yeah, your own balance, yeah. Exactly. Yeah, thank you for
You're
your
welcome.
comments. Yeah. Anybody else that's in the audience that's here for the taxi cab, if you'd like to speak, just step up to the podium, give your name and address for the record. Hold on just a second. Let me explain the rules, because there are rules. Step up to the podium and use the microphone. You have 3 minutes, maximum of 3 minutes to say something. Okay? Go ahead.
Hi there.
Hi.
My name is Diane Desitel, and I'm on this SSDI. Unfortunately, if I could work, I would, but I depend on these people. We've Catch a Ride, and I've tried a couple times. And one time I was taken to the hospital because my back seized, and it was time for me to go. And Catch a Ride says, you got to give us a day ahead notice. And then the people at the hospital are telling me, well, you can't stay here. And what am I supposed to do? I don't have a car. And I'm stuck at the hospital. And it ended up that one of the employees got off of work and took me home. But if it wasn't for them, and it shouldn't be a 24-hour notice at all. It's like taking away our freedom a little bit. Well, if you want to go anywhere, you got to give them a 24-hour notice. That's unreasonable, and it's unhealthy for us. And these guys work their butts off, excuse me.
What's your address?
They do, and
What's
they're
your
there.
address?
They don't ever miss.
Excuse me, ma'am. What is your address?
I'm sorry?
What is your address?
Right now, I'm staying at the Econo Lodge waiting for a government-assisted apartment. I've been waiting 2 years.
Okay. So you're in the city of Waupaca?
I'm sorry?
You're in the city of Waupaca?
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay.
Econo Lodge is in Waupaca.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm in the extended stay.
Okay.
And
Okay.
all we can do is wait until
So
we
when
get
you say
they
catch a
pull our
ride,
name.
you're actually talking about the Waupaca taxi.
I'm sorry?
You're talking about the Waupaca taxi service?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I should have said that.
That's okay. I just want to make sure I
Every
understand.
one of them are friendly, and they're there on time. Rarely are they late. And I depend on them, because I could drive, but I can't afford a car. And these guys take me, it's only in Waupaca, but if I've got to wait 24 hours to do anything, that's not right.
Sure.
And that's,
Thank
I
you.
could say a lot more, but I only got so much time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else that would like to talk? Sure.
I am not a Waupaca resident, but I'm speaking for my daughter, who is a Waupaca resident. I don't know if you'll let me talk or not.
Sure, just
Okay.
give us your name, though, at least.
My name is Sherry Brownlow, and I'm from Wild Rose.
Okay.
I'm here tonight especially to advocate for our daughter, Rebecca. She has been a Waupaca resident for over 25 years and is currently finishing her 15th year as an employee at the Waupaca Goodwill. She is 50 years old and lives independently, but does not have a driver's license. We, her parents, live in Wild Rose. She has relied on the Waupaca taxi for transportation to work, to medical appointments, grocery shopping, pharmacy, and other Waupaca businesses. If there is no longer a cab service for her, she will be forced to quit her job and relocate. Waupaca is her home. She has connections and routines that make a good, meaningful life for her. Just as important, so do many, many other residents of Waupaca. I wonder if you have any idea how many other lives revolve around being able to rely on the cab for very important appointments and responsibilities. Losing independence through no fault of their own is stressful and unfair. There is nowhere to turn, no options. Many of these people are affected by this potential change and are already struggling to get by. Taking transportation from them will only make things worse. The decision to discontinue cab service will be harmful to the economy and the well-being of Waupaca. We are all part of the web that holds this Wisconsin community together. We are charged as human beings to do our share to provide opportunities for our fellow citizens. Please continue to support the Waupaca taxi. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? You are a gentleman back there. Hi.
Hi, my name is Megan Serwinski. I live on 650 West Union Street. I have been taking the taxi since I was, since I graduated college and moved out of my parents' house when I was 22. It's embarrassing. They have taken care of me since then. They've gotten me to work every day that I needed to get to work. They've gotten me to work on time every single day. I work at Theta Care now, and they get me to work every day at 7 o'clock. And yeah, they have to get me to work every day at 7 o'clock. And when when I need to be picked up, I call them and they know, hey, it's Megan, and I need to be picked up at this time. I have restrictions, I have limitations, but they know my limitations and they watch out for me. When I'm out walking, they wave, they know it's me. They're my family. And I love them very much for it. So.
Thank you.
I don't want to lose them.
Thank you. Anybody else? Let this go. You can go next, sir.
Hey guys, how you guys doing? I'm Edgar Sandoval. I just moved to Waupaca just a little bit ago. I'm a resident here about 2 weeks ago now, right? I am actually riding the taxi cab as well. Everywhere I go, I don't really drive. I've enjoyed good conversations with everybody, the taxi drivers. They get me up and down. I'm usually out the house at approximately 10 or 11, then I'm out and about the rest of the day. This is my prop because they get me to work, which is Half Vez by El Jaripeo, right up the road at the new truck stop. So check us out if you guys are there. Also took that opportunity. But point being, they also got me here today. You know what I mean? So thankful for them. I'm able to get here and go back to work. Yeah, it's nice to be a part of the community, I guess.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm Isaac. I'm a Harold's Care Companion at the Veterans Home. We wouldn't be able to get him anywhere without the taxi, especially in the winter. I can get him in around King and to his storage unit during the summer, but that's about it. And he really enjoys getting out and about. I also have one child who still lives in the village, and I've used the taxi service to get him to the doctor before and to the ER and stuff when he was sick. I think it's a really good service, and I hope you keep it up.
Thank you. Anybody else? Anybody else?
Hello, I'm Wendy Peterson.
Hi, Wendy.
Hi. I just need, I live out on County Highway QQ, but I spend most of my time over on Redfield in Waupaca, where the taxi is. I'm just really, I understand what you're doing. I understand why now that I'm here. But part of my heart fell in my gut, and it's been here aching for over a week now when I heard the news. You know, she was talking about taking Waupaca share ride, and you got it switched into Catch a Ride, but that's beside the point. I work directly with the dispatcher at Catch a Ride because their apps aren't working. We're working with people that deal with cash, not apps. We're working with old school people, and I can relate so much. I am not an apper. You know, I need something, I call my son, come here. But as far as Catch a Ride, they aren't covering it. They're not doing it. The people are not following through and getting them where they need to go. They'll cancel them when they're out in Waupaca working in a snowstorm, and they'll cancel. And we can't go get them, but we're still working. They're stuck out there with no ride home. Over in where the pizza place is on D. They left them stranded there. I hear all the horror stories. They refuse to use Catch a Ride because they don't follow through. They cancel them, and your riders don't deserve that. R&R, before Aaron left, I said, Aaron, I just don't get it. I said, what's with R&R? I'm trying to figure it out. He said, Wendy, I don't know either. He said, I have not been able to figure them out. They aren't doing the runs at night for your people who drink. I'm not one of them, but there are a lot of people, and we have a lot of people in the court system that your service gets to their appointments on time, and then they have where they all of a sudden have to do a drug test right now. They don't have time to wait 5 minutes, 10 minutes. They need to go right away to get that done. Otherwise, they're back in jail. I know personally what it's like to go through someone with addiction. Today's doing good. Tomorrow's not promised. but they need a lot of help. Talk about doing your laundry. You go probably to your closet or your basement and you get your laundry done. You know, I had a homeless guy get in the cab with his laundry, and he wanted to go to his laundry, and I suggested him doing his coat too. Whoa, that's a good idea. You know, these people need help. They need your service. We have people from Europe, I've taken many times, California, New York, visiting here. They are so happy to have it because they don't have Uber. They call you a blessing. They are so pleased. Everywhere between California and New York, states in between, we've had your riders. They fly into the airport at Waupaca. They go use your Village Inn and Econo Lodge, and they can't get there without us because the planes have to stay there. Now you have a really nice living place on Lori Way for so many riders. Your riders on a good day, when their bodies were okay and the weather was good, they could walk the 3 or 4 blocks to get to the stores. They live miles away from the stores. They're in wheelchairs. They're disabled. They need this service. I am so pleased what Henry was talking about. If there's a way, any way, to give these people independence and mental health. Do you know if they're stuck in their apartments for weeks, you're going to have a whole nother problem in your community. These guys deserve this. Forgive me if I've said something wrong, because I'm hoping tonight my piece of heart can go back up where it belongs, out of my stomach, and I can sleep good. It says, a friend of mine said, I'm praying for your family. There's much stuff. And I said, no, and the taxi. And he goes, Wendy, that's part of your family. So, thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, Wendy. Again, as we said at the beginning, we are sympathetic to what's going on, but we also we're tasked with more, and we have to find a way to make this work within our budget, and that's where we're sitting right now. Anybody else?
I want to say thanks for letting us give you an idea of what your next meeting is going to be like.
All of you that spoke tonight can't re-speak. No, I'm just kidding.
Public hearing
Absolutely.
rule.
You've already spoken once.
One thing, because people say, all right, well, maybe they can walk. I've got vertigo, and vertigo is very scary. Doctors don't know how to fix it. And when you get a dizzy spell and see stars, I've broken both legs, different occasions from vertigo falls. If I could walk, I would walk a couple of miles, but I can't. I used to, but there are people who can't walk when they don't have a ride. So I just wanted to add that, because people have said, well, you know, they could maybe walk 4 or 5 miles. I can't. And
Okay.
it looks like I can. I used to walk all the time, but I'm scared to fall.
Okay.
So that's all I got to say.
Thank you. Thank you. Go ahead, Justin.
I would just like to note the ways to give public input. And if you can make the hearing is one, we have that email address up there. That's another one. And then you can always call City Hall, 258-4411.
Okay. With that, I think we're done with that. I don't have anything additional under communications, recommendations of the mayor, well, except the Brewers are ahead 2-1 in the top of the third. What's that? What's that?
If anybody's gonna be
Oh, yeah. We are planning, obviously, our first meeting in July is July 1st. Please let Barb know if you're unable to attend for whatever reason. And then also on July 2nd, we are having a city planning commission meeting. I know Eric and Henry, you're a part of that too. So make sure you let us know if you're unable to attend that. Anything else for the good of the meeting? tonight?
Move to adjourn.
Motion by Hagan, second by Olson, that we adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against, say no. Motion carried. We're adjourned at 7:47 PM.